Greetings makers, it's Amy with Softwood Crafting coming from my craft studio down at the very tip of Texas. Today we are turning simple paper into handmade magic, and that simple paper we are going to be using is this beautiful paper, this beautiful DSP called Cute as a Bug, and it's part of the what is it called, the Sweet Bugs Suite from Stampin' Up! And today we're going to be using this particular sheet with the different strawberries, grapes. I guess they're grapes. Maybe they're raspberries of a different color. I don't know. I'm not good with fruit in the wild. And then we're also going to be using this DSP. Sorry about that. We're going to fussy cut this out, but you can see I already did a couple, but we're using this particular caterpillar holding the strawberries, but going in the opposite directions. And this one was kind of cut off. And in this case, there's only two going in the direction I wanted to use for this particular card. But if you just reverse the card, you could use these caterpillars as well. But you could also use the other bugs. It doesn't have to be the caterpillars. I just happened to choose the caterpillars this time. Anyway, I love this DSP. The bugs are super cute. And we're going to make a very cute card. And let me show you what we're going to make. So we are making this card using that sweet Cute as a Bug DSP. And for the template to make this card, I actually was inspired by the annual catalog, and it's on page 135. And I'm using this particular layout. It's not quite the same. And of course, we're using the bugs and bug paper, so it's really not the same. But I wanted to use this as my inspiration for making this particular card. And I think it turned out very, very cute indeed. All right, so let me show you what we are going to be using today. All right, so get all my pieces. Okay, so the first thing is we're going to start with a card base of Petal Pink, and it is 8.5 by 5.5 and scored on the long side at 4 1/4. Okay. Then we have another piece of Petal Pink right here, and it is 4.5 by 3. That does not seem right. I think I wrote down the wrong dimension. Nope, it is 3. It is 4.5. Boy, that looked odd to me. Okay, so 4.5 by 3. We have a piece of Poppy Parade, and this Poppy Parade is 3.5 by 1.5. We have a piece of Designer Series paper, and I found some old DSP. I don't even remember what the name of the DSP is anymore, but it had kind of like a background with Petal Pink and some of that Poppy Parade. And so I cut this out, so you can use whatever DSP you have. This is 5.5 by 2. And again, this DSP from Cute as a Bug is 4.5 by 2 3/4. And then we have some basic white, the insert, which is 5 1/4 by 4. And then a piece for the front for our sentiment. We're going to use basic white, and it's 3 3/4 by 1 1/4. Okay, so a lot of this, and then of course, my little caterpillar that I cut out of the DSP. So this is just really mainly a card using the DSP in order to create a really great card. So let's go ahead and start. I'm going to go ahead and glue my DSP to the Petal Pink. I'm sorry for all my sniffling. I seem to have come down something, not the flu, but my sinuses are just really wound up today. All right, so we're going to glue this in, and we're going to try to keep it the even spacing from top to bottom, side to side. It's not really my strength. I'm really bad about keeping things straight. I always think they're straight, and then when I glue them down, they're just a tad bit crooked. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is we're going to take this DSP, and we're going to glue it to the front, but we're not going to glue it in the center. We're going to kind of glue it over to the side and leave about 1/2 inch. Well, let's make it about 3/4 of an inch from the edge. So I'm going to use my grid to help me try to get that down straight. So let me line that up. Let me get some glue on this. And so we're going to come over about, well, let's say, yeah, let's say about 5/8. Okay, that looks fairly straight. Okay, so this piece, you notice, goes from the very top to the very bottom of the card base. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to take my Poppy Parade and I'm going to center it. Kind of on top, but I want it to come over just a little bit to leave about 1/4 of an inch. And let's see. Okay, well, maybe my cardstock didn't cut very straight. That looks okay. All right, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this up on dimensionals. And I'm going to use the edges of this old sheet. So let me cut some pieces up from it. Oh, there's one piece let's go ahead and just go here like this. I like to use up all bits of my dimensionals. Okay, you don't waste them. Okay, so we're going to go here, 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 and here. All right, so let me grab my Take Your Pick tool. I like to use it to pick up my backings off my dimensionals, because then I kind of keep them together and I can get them actually into the trash can and not have them fly all over my craft table. Now, I'm using dimensional paper, so you want to make sure, or not directional paper, so you want to make sure that it's in the right direction before you put it down. And so I'm just going to come in a little bit, about 1/4 of an inch from the side of this paper, but also trying to center it from top to bottom, centering it on the DSP. And don't press down until you think you have it straight. Let me again, sorry for all the sniffles. Okay, I think that's good. Okay, so there we have almost this piece completed. So the next thing we want to do is we want to stamp our sentiment. And what I did for my sentiment is I'm actually using, the Perennial Postage. This is an expired stamp set, but I liked this particular sentiment because I thought, oh, I could use this for kind of like for Valentine's. Y'all, I feel a sneeze coming. So I'm sorry if I sneeze on here. All right, so let me go ahead and grab my stamp set. And what I want to do before I stamp it on my base, I want to check and make sure I have it fairly straight. So I'm going to come over here. Sorry if my head gets in the way. Actually, let me come down here so I can see. And I would just want to make sure it's straight when I stamp. And that's pretty good. Let me wipe that up because I will stick my hands in it, or my card will actually end up in it. Use my chamois to clean that up. All right, so let me go ahead and tap, tap, tap. Okay, and look, I already got ink all over myself just from opening up the stamp pad. Sorry if my head gets in the way. I'm trying to see to make sure it's fairly straight, and I know it won't be as soon as I stamp it. And it's not, because I couldn't tell where I was going down on the, well, that's okay. It's not centered per se, but it's okay. It's at least straight, which is more than I can say for most of my sentiments. All right, so we put that aside. And what we're going to do is I'm going to glue this straight down. I'm not going to put it up on dimensionals because I already have this piece on dimensionals. And I'm not going to put glue on it all the way to the edge because some of it's going to be off hanging. Okay. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to the bottom. I want it to overhang over here and then not quite come over the whole way to the to be lined up. I want it to be still off a little bit. And guys, I can't see if this is straight. Doesn't, maybe I should have trimmed this down a little bit more. Oh, I bet I did. Let me see if I can grab my trimmer real quick. I'm just going to cut off an edge. So let me measure it after. Oh, where's my ruler? This seems too long. Okay, so this was not quite 3.5. And I don't remember what I said it was when I did it. I said 3 3/4. Okay, that was too long. So let's come down to 3.5. Cut off. I'm going to get glue all over my... But that's okay, because I can clean it off. Get this out of the way. All right, so now let's go ahead and try that again. Okay, that's much better. So I'll make sure I put that in the directions when I post that. Okay, so there we go. So what I do want to do is I do want to put the caterpillar up on dimensional. So grab that there and this one there. This is that time of the year, I think, where everyone's picking up the sniffles. All right, so I'm going to kind of like, I want him to, there we go. I don't want to cover up my sentiment, but I also, okay. And I'm going to grab, these are some very old polished dots, but I want to use them because they're Petal Pink and they match the card and the caterpillar perfectly. So I'm going to grab some of those. And let me turn my take your pick around. I know I see people who can pick these things up with their fingers and I can't do it. Okay, so I'm going to add a large one here. And then I'm going to grab 2 small to put up there. Okay, and so now the only thing we need to do is the inside of our card. So I'm going to go ahead, let me grab the insert, and also I'm using again from the perennial postage, I have the thank you for your friendship, because I thought that would go good for Valentine's Day, for like, you know, you have a really close friend that you'd like to give them a Valentine without being all lovey-dovey. So I thought that was perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my sentiment. And I already tested it. And I'm going to put it down to the bottom of my card, trying to keep it straight. Okay, and just holding it there for the ink to transfer. There we go. And I used Poppy Parade as well, too, in stamping my sentiments. I didn't think I mentioned that when I did the front of the card, but yeah, my Poppy Parade. Okay, and so I'm going to grab some glue. I'm going to put a couple of dots of glue so they can kind of dry a little bit. And that did not come out as well as I wanted. It didn't come out as a dot. Put a dot here. And let's let that give a second to dry. And y'all, we're in February now, so starting today's February 2nd, starting tomorrow, if you have any of your coupons from bonus days from January, you start using them tomorrow to get your $5 off per coupon, so that you could use it. That also, I don't know what it is. We have the new product release that is coming out tomorrow for whatever the month of February is going to be. If you spend $75 on the store, don't know quite what it is yet, but it is coming. Okay, so what I did is I want to add some of these hearts that are not pink. Okay. We're going to use kind of these kind of reddish ones. I think they're strawberry slush, but I thought they went well with the Poppy Parade. And I'm just kind of adding them in there because I want to use my stuff. I always forget to use, especially the different dots and rhinestones and different things that I buy. I buy them and then I kind of forget about them, and that's not a good thing. You want to be able to use your stuff. So use whatever you have. So I use this particular layout from the catalog. So you don't have to use this cute as a bug paper. You could use whatever papers you have. You could put flowers here. You can use whatever sentiments you have. You can make this piece a little thinner, because I think it was thinner in the actual template that was in the catalog. But I just picked it. I wanted it to match that your Simply Marvelous stamp. So that's why I made it a little bigger. And guys, I do have inky fingers all over the place. So I'm going to get in. I know I'm going to end up getting ink. I'm not getting my glues not wanting to come out. Okay, so here we go. Last piece, we're going to go ahead and glue this down to our card. I'm trying to see where the score mark is. Okay. Let's go ahead and grab our bone folder and fold our card to give it a nice crisp edge. And line it up. Go this route just a little bit more. Okay, and there we go. We have our Simply Marvelous card. And I don't know, oh, here's the original one that I made. I just think it's a very cute template. I really enjoy looking through the catalogs and finding templates. I don't necessarily make that particular card, but I do enjoy using what I have to make some cards. So I encourage you to do the same thing. If you are looking for a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I would love to be your demonstrator. If you spend $50 in my online store, I will send you a card kit in order to make some cards that you can use using whatever you have. All right, again, this is Amy with Soft Wind Crafting, and thank you very much for joining me today.